What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Tottenham Online. I'm just minutes after the Mikey Moore finisher to have the game final. Tottenham 3, Elfsborg 0. And as you can see here, just a dominant performance. It took us a while to get there. Dane Scarlett scoring the first goal in the 70th minute after making some subs. But as you can see here, just run down 69% possession. It was hovering around that 70% the entire game. 20 total attempts to 4, 59 attacks to 15, 10 corners taken to 0. Now, we didn't do a ton with those corners, but it's just kind of symptomatic of what kind of game we were playing today. And this right here, this pass accuracy right in the middle at 92%, that was our real big issue, I think, the last couple weeks against Leicester, the loss against Everton as well, just making these weird, poor 5-10 yard passes that are just so baseline basic for these players. That's back up to 92%. Everything looks smooth, crisp. Everyone was a lot more locked in today. And that kind of goes back, we had a conversation at the Leicester match review that are these guys really locked into the league? Are they kind of apathetic towards what's going on? And you can tell maybe there's a different level of motivation for these European games and the cup games coming up, which is great news because motivation all-time high. The work ethic and everything was great today. Getting players back, which we'll talk about. Mickey van de Ven, obviously, playing the entire first half, which I was very nervous about, but he didn't really have too much to do. Elfsborg didn't really show too much speed. There weren't a ton of breaks that Mickey had to go back and cover, which is usually where he blows out that hamstring, is kind of launching back, going 30 miles an hour, trying to get back and cover his ass, basically. But just the rest of the stats here, just a mile-high view of it. The passes completed, just utter dominance. Alston, not a thing to do in goal. They outran us, but that's just them on defense, having to make up the space, trying to catch the ball. But to the table, here it is. This is final. I think every game is final now, just minutes after the Tottenham win. Finishing fourth, I think if you say that to anyone before, absolutely happy with that. 17 points. Man United somehow with 18, Athletic, and Lazio with 19. Both great campaigns from them so far. Frankfurt, Lyon, Olympiacos, and Rangers will join us in that first round bye. So we are straight to the round of 16. We get 2 games off, essentially, taken off the schedule. I think these start, it's late February or March. So we don't have to do this knockout, which is absolutely huge for us. I mean, you guys know, anyone who follows the Premier League or Tottenham even a little bit understand what avoiding those 2 games really does for us. So here you can see the rest of the teams, that could potentially make it through. I don't think we quite have the... Oh, we do. Look at that. So there's 4th, 5th. So here we go. Oh, we're paired up with Man United. So we're looking right here towards the bottom. Galatasaray, I don't want to see them again. Real Sociedad. Those are 2 teams. So the 19 and 20 seeds looking pretty good. If we can sneak a couple upsets here, I do not want to see Galatasaray. They have incredible speed. Now, having Mickey van de Ven back for that game obviously would make a huge difference. We didn't have him the first go-around. The first time we played Galatasaray was in just the utter throes of the injury crisis, which we're still in now a bit, but it's easing off. So that's where we are there. I'm so happy with this. I can't wait to get to the round of 16. I think we go deep in this tournament. I think we got to make a semifinals, a finals. Winning it obviously is huge for us because that's an automatic Champions League qualification, and at this point, given the state of the Premier League, we need that, or we're not going to be in Europe at all outside of winning an FA Cup or Carabao Cup. So that is where we are there. So let's talk about the game a little bit more in depth. We're going to switch over here we're going to get a bit trippy most likely. Here we go. So we have player ratings. Our handy-dandy tier list of player ratings. Let me pull up notes real quick. All right, so I think a lot of people get these confused, these player ratings. So 6 right here, that's the average. People see 6 as a bad game. 6 is you kind of just did your job. And I'll go ahead and give you a key example here. Where's our buddy Pedro Porro? I'm leaning towards 5.5, 6 for Pedro Porro. To be honest with you, he was very poor in the first half. I just think he needs an extended break, kind of what Madison did. You know, when Madison was back, and he only ended up playing 90 minutes or less after that huge break, coincidentally. But I think he looked a lot better. He looked a lot more energetic, a lot more creative, a lot more confident on the ball. I just think that's where Pedro Porro is right now. His passes are just a foot off. His shot, his decision making, everything is it's just not working out for him. So I really hope he can get a break. It's hard with Dogi out, and you know, like I said, not having those 2 European games because Jed Spence isn't a part of Europe at the moment. That really is big for Pedro Porro. Let's go to a big boy, Heung-min Son. I'm not leaving him at 7. Do not worry. 9. Son was by far the most creative player on the field. He absolutely made the defenders look silly. Probably 5. He played 1 half, and he probably had the statistics of a guy who played 2 games. Obviously, he didn't get. I don't think he recorded a shot on goal. Obviously, didn't score anything. But the opportunities he was creating, putting balls in the box, absolutely shattering the ankles of half the team, or half the Elfsberg team, really was incredible. Just elite display from Sonny today. I'm glad to see it. His footwork, gorgeous. Obviously, his work ethic is always there. Let's go to Ben Davies. I think another shocking player. I thought he was playing midfield or even the left wing for half the time. He was just so involved. You know, this grouping right here with Sonny and Davis were just working off of each other that entire first half. Davis was in the box right next to Sonny the whole first half, working off of each other. Defensively, not a thing to complain about. Great display from Davies. I love it. And that's probably why Ange picked him over Dragusin, which he ends up getting hurt. So, you know, we have an NA here at the bottom. I think there's a couple guys that go in there. Dragusin was doing all right before he got out, but he was only on for God knows 5 minutes. So, you know, there's going to be a few guys that didn't really make it out on the field today, but we'll go to let's go to Van de Ven. Probably my second favorite player on the team. I only give him an 8 because he didn't have a ton to do, but you can just tell. You know, if someone is watching football for the second time, and the first game they saw Radu, and the second game they saw Mickey Van de Ven, I think they would quickly understand how important Van de Ven is to the defense, to the breaking the lines in the midfield, and even the offense. That is how good he is at pressing the ball, getting runs up the field, just working space. Obviously, his tracking back is elite. He's objectively the fastest player in the Premier League, and probably in Europe at this point. I don't see anyone outpacing him. So obviously having him back was huge. I go 8.5 for him. Let's go to Dane Scarlett. Obviously didn't have a ton. This is a bit of a cheeky one. Wasn't in for too long. He scores his first European goal for the club, so he just goes right into 8 for me. Kulusevski, he has that assist, a gorgeous ball in for, I believe he was assisting Dane. Nothing to complain about the Kulusevski. He's always working hard. He's always picking the ball. His hold-up play is insane. This guy's just a workhorse. I think he's future captain of the club. Speaking of a future of the club, Bergvall, also an 8. Let me pull up my notes here. I have just a page of notes about this man. We'll keep it short because we have a lot to go through, but Bergvall craves the ball. You can tell he is so confident. He wants it. He's moving into space, and that's what we need. You know, we talked about it in the Leicester review, that just the offense looks a bit static. People are kind of feel like they're locked in place. They feel like they're not moving around for the ball. They're not getting into space to make themselves available for teammates. And I think that's kind of why we have a lot of these. We advance up the field, and then you have a back pass. You have side to side. You have side to side, trying to find lanes to break through the defense. And I think it's because we don't have a ton of guys moving around, and that's what Bergvall gives you. He's hungry for the ball. He's craving it. He's confident when he gets the ball in his passing, in his dribbling. His field vision is great. Now, Can he be a little reckless? Absolutely. That is, I think, his downfall right now. He's a kid, obviously. I think he gets a bit aggressive when he loses the ball. I think he gets a bit vengeful if someone makes a tackle on him. So that's my only dig on him. But, the way he finds space for his teammates, he's available, which is the biggest thing, coming into the midfield is being available, making space, just being able to link up the defense to the front three is huge. Basuma, didn't really notice a ton. I'll go average for him. Maybe 6.57. We'll put him around there. I didn't notice him a ton, which for a guy playing in the defensive midfield a bit more, that's all right. Basuma, he's okay with me. Charleston, kind of the same thing. I'll put him 6.5, 7. I'll put him up there just to give him the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't played a ton. He picked up an injury at the end of the Leicester game, so I'm surprised he even was playing today. As I throw a few, look at this. This is the injury list right now, folks. That is absolutely insane. This is a starting 11 down here. But yeah, anyway, so Richie goes there for me. Solid game. Didn't do a ton. Like I said, if anyone who watches this team in and out, you can really start to pick up on why Solanke is so valuable for us. Richie is very good in the air, but he's a bit chaotic. He doesn't really produce a ton. He doesn't really have any hold of play. He always makes me, he looks nervous on the ball. So I don't really trust him in spaces like that. Solid player, seems like a good dude, but just very average for us, all in all. Alston, you could put this guy anywhere between 6 and 8. He didn't have literally anything to do. He had 0 saves. There were 0 shots on target. His distribution was all right. He made himself available. That's all you can ask. There's literally nothing to say about Brandon Alston besides he did the job that was put in front of him. So that's all you can say. Bentancur, very solid. This is honestly one of my favorite players on the team as well. Bentancur just so unlucky with injuries. And the thing is, it's not like he has one chronic injury. Van de Ven is scary because he just picks up that same hamstring injury over and over and over again. Bentancur is always something different. He tears his ACL, he messes up his ankle, and then he knocks himself out on a corner. So is it just kind of a freak circumstance and maybe he's going to be on the up and up after this? I hope so. I love Bentancur. He's so confident on the ball. You can see him calling for ball a lot. Again, another guy that makes himself available and is trying to push the ball up the field. And I love that type of thing. Last two here, Pape Matasar, an amazing young player, probably around 7 again. He's someone that I didn't really notice in the first half. Second half, when the kids started coming on, he really kind of showed his seniority. He was moving the ball a bit better. He was picking up in the midfield and kind of doing a bit more with it. But again, solid performance, probably around 7. Archie Gray, just an absolute stud. When we picked him up in the summer, all of the Leeds United fans were heartbroken. And I think you can see why. Plays all over the field, does his job, like Bergvall next to him, extremely confident. He knows what his job is. He does it well. I love it. And, any game that you have a cluster like this, that's great. No 5s, limited 6s. Paro, I think, is just exhausted. He just needs a buddy to help him out. I don't have some of the other kids on here who are scoring, some of those other goals, but obviously, the boys are going up towards 8 and 9 for that. Any kid, we'll switch over here. Any kid that's scoring a goal in their debut like that, you got to give him an 8 or 9 just for the confidence boost, just to see him out there for the first time in front of a Tottenham Hotspur stadium doing what they did. Absolutely incredible, man. So there's some of the notes. We pretty much covered everything. Oh, Mikey Moore wasn't on there. His early run into the box, I don't know if you guys remember that, around probably the 6th minute in the first half. You don't want to go too crazy, but really Lionel Messi-esque, just weaving through 3-4 players getting into the box. I think he was one guy away from really breaking in and getting a shot on goal. And then obviously unlucky not to score in the first half. He had that, I forget who crossed it, but it was point blank. It might have been Son after he shattered another guy's ankles. point blank just rockets it, and the goalie throws up a hand, and it somehow makes contact. Um, but yeah, I think everything else we went through. So we'll run through Ange. The team selection was good. I was happy with it. Obviously, he doesn't have that many options. So I mean, what really is he going to do? Van de Ven starting had me super worried. We knew he was probably going to come on for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and that's what he ended up doing. He played the first half. And I think Ange maybe kind of had an inkling that this team isn't really something that's, it's not Galatasaray like we were talking about earlier, where you're going to have to worry about Osman breaking through the line and someone's going to have to catch up to him, and it's going to be Van de Ven because we know Davies and Dragoshin or whoever else is out there with him isn't going to do it. So that wasn't an issue. The way we kind of set up the offense, it was a bit more patient, and that was kind of frustrating for the first 60, 70 minutes until we ended up breaking through, and then their defense kind of shut down. So that worried me, but it ends up working out. Van de Ven looked great. He looks fresh. He looks healthy for the first time in a long time. So I think we'll have him against Brentford. Honestly, if Dragoshin is okay, I'd prefer Davies and Dragoshin to start, or whatever combination. You can get Dragoshin and Gray, even a center back, because obviously that kid plays everywhere. So yeah, Ange, need to get him on the tier list. He's an 8 for me. Did nothing wrong. The subs were great. Obviously, the kids come on and make him look like a genius, so maybe I'll bump him up to a 9. Overall, obviously, great performance. It's a lower level European team. Like they mentioned on the broadcast as well, this isn't a team that's even in season right now, which you could look at as a positive or a negative. They're not really in game form outside of the games they play in Europe, so they could be a bit rusty. They have their camps, over the winter that try to keep them on the pace, but let's not get too carried away. But overall, obviously, 4th place in Europa, nothing to sniff at, so we'll take that. Press, the energy levels, this is what this team's all about. This is why we train hard. This is probably why we pick up a bit of injuries, because guys just don't have the rotation right now, and it's really hard to keep up just that level of intensity. But today is extremely good. When we turned the ball over, we were picking it back up almost immediately. They had 0 shots on goal, so obviously we're really putting them under pressure and making their life hard. So, and this third one is massive. This is probably our biggest issue from the last 2 games: the loss to Everton, the loss to Leicester. Just the easy passes, the easy decisions. Obviously everyone talks about the Pedro Porro when he could have crossed to Archie Gray in the middle, wide open, calling for the ball, and he just launches it into the side netting from an impossible angle. You don't see stuff like that today. Team football, team passing, people getting into space, and working off each other. So, and the final note, obviously, great possession. We limited the counterattacks, which is, the huge claim against this team is we're too dangerous. We self-inflict wounds. We get in positions that hurt ourselves, and teams make us pay. That did not happen today. Hopefully with Van de Ven back, hopefully with Romero coming back, guys getting maybe a bit more rest, because we're avoiding those 2 playing games in Europa League. We can get back to our best. But and just final note here, now that we're through Europa League, I'd honestly rest players on Sunday. I don't really care about beating Brentford. They're one of the best teams in the league. I think they are. If you just look at home form, I think they are the number 1 team in the league. So I'm not super worried about winning that game. If we can get a draw, okay, that's fine. Picking up points doesn't mean a ton. It's just an aesthetics thing. It's just to make Ange look a bit better, just keep his job a bit more secure. So obviously I want to win. I want to have a good time. But I want to think bigger picture here. I want to think Liverpool. I want to think Aston Villa, and then obviously the round of 16 for Europa League. So I want to start getting guys back. I want to start, limiting as much as we can, because the more players you get back, obviously you can rotate more, which limits fatigue and limits injury. So it's kind of just this snowball effect that I hope we can get rolling downhill. So we get the team back, and then we can start to rest players and keep them from getting hurt. So that's that. And I guess the last thing, this is just more, I'm so toxically Angian that I have to mention it every time I can, that if you look at the end of that game, 3 goals from 3 kids, I think they're all under 18. That's the future of the club. you know, and we just sent, I forget his name, Sook to QPR out on loan. Obviously, you have Mikey Moore, you have Archie Gray. It's just an exciting. It's a weird time. It's an exciting time because of what you've seen today. How many kids, can be effective for us. How many up and coming talents are. We just signed a kid today from Manchester City, an 18-year-old, who's very up and coming, a huge talent. And then, we're looking to bring Tell in from Bayern Munich. So if we can get the Tell thing done, I'm not super confident. Obviously, it's Daniel Levy, but we do have a great relationship with Bayern Munich. So hopefully we can get that done. That's another kid. I mean, we could be the best team in the world in 3-4 years. Obviously, we need to back that up with, great performances, big first team players coming in, staying healthy, good windows, backing Ange, being patient. But if you're Ange out, just take a look at that, and that's your project, boys and girls. That's all it is. It's simple as that. If you don't understand what the project is, I think they just showed you right there at the end of the game what we're looking forward to. Anyway, that's it for me. Tottenham 3, Elfsberg 0. We're in 4th place in the Europa League, and we are through to the final 16. That starts up. I'm not even sure when the final 16 starts. I haven't even looked at anything. I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but I think we have about a month and a half break since we are through those playoff games. So round of 16, March, April, something like that. So we'll check in. We'll have more videos to come. Thanks for watching. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go, boys. See you later. Like and subscribe. See ya.